Well, the big day has finally arrived. I'm here in the Sainte-Catherine area of central Brussels. This is normally a lively area full of bars and restaurants, but it has been eerily quiet for the past 6 months because the country went into its second lockdown in late October, and since then bars and restaurants have been closed the entire time. So this is the biggest change we're going to see today. As you can see behind me, there's already a breakfast place that's put out tables outside. The rule is that you have to serve people outside. They have to be seated at a table. That also is the case for bars. And the tables have to be 1.5 meters apart. And this is where some bars and restaurants are going to be advantaged and some others. It all kind of depends on what kind of space you have outside of your establishment. This place behind me, you can see they have plenty of space. They're here on a square. But if you just have a narrow sidewalk, that would really only give you room for maybe 3-4 tables. So the big question is whether a lot of the smaller bars are going to choose to open, whether they think it's worth it. They were very unhappy yesterday when at the last minute they were told that they can't put plexiglass between tables in order to avoid that 1.5 meter requirement. So that's going to be hard for places without a lot of outdoor space. Now, the other big change, as you mentioned, is the end of the curfew. That curfew has been in place for 6 months. It's been 10 p.m. here in Brussels and midnight for the rest of the country. That will end, although you cannot have outdoor gatherings. You can't congregate after 10 p.m. Why? Because the bars and restaurants have to close at 10 p.m. and they want to make sure that the party doesn't move to the streets. And so in the same vein, they are not allowing alcohol sales after 10 p.m. to try to discourage anyone from gathering outside. They're very worried about noise. We're basically going to be in the same situation we were in last summer. These are very similar rules, and noise was a problem last summer, with especially young people gathering in public squares once the bars closed.
Dave, just where are we at when it comes to the COVID-19 situation in Belgium and the vaccination efforts against this virus?
Well, this reopening is only possible because Belgium met its goal, which was necessary for this reopening to happen, which was 70% of people over 65 vaccinated. It's well over that threshold now. We're over 80%. And in general, over a third of people in Belgium have been vaccinated now. There was a huge increase in the pace of vaccinations over the past 2 weeks. I can say anecdotally, I know so many people who got a vaccine over the past 2 weeks. And I would say about half the people I know now are vaccinated. So it's a far cry from where we were just a couple weeks ago, and it is what has enabled this reopening. Now, the continued reopening will be dependent on further milestones in the vaccination campaign. As of today, you can have gatherings before 10 p.m. of 50 people for things like weddings, but not for anything with an audience. But that could change if they meet a further threshold in June. Then they could increase that number for outdoor gatherings to 200. And then who knows, maybe eventually we could go inside of bars and restaurants again. So that we have that to look forward to.
Dave Keating, our correspondent, reporting there from central Brussels. Thank you very much.